And we're back, and this time to talk about Bridget making it into Guilty Gear Strive. But not from a fighting game community perspective, no. To talk about how this wonderful femboy has been received by the internet. At this past EVO, Arc System Works showcased a trailer for the official start of Guilty Gear Strive's second content season with Bridget's reveal. Now, I have come to see how the internet works, especially Twitter, and I wasn't surprised to see that popularity parasites believe Bridget to be non-binary, transgender, alphabet, whatever. This position received further validation from Arc System Works' official English blog, having Bridget's character description refer to him by just his name and given the pronoun her in their bio that I couldn't find. Yet, I do have a screenshot of it, thanks to Eleonora Bridget Rail. This appears similar to the treatment Testament received despite being canonically male, or cis-male, as the enlightened ones that will take us to Alpha Centauri say. What adds further merit to Testament being a male character is another character, Cliff, the stepfather of Testament, who views him as his stepson, not stepdaughter or stepthing. Yet, we had them being referred to as they, them, and Arc Systems Works staff confirmed this southern pronoun transition as being true, and not the usual case of Western branches injecting woke politics into video games. In terms of Bridget, we see this with the deliberate use of his name despite sentences alluding to him being a man, especially where he is one of two twin sons and decides to behave as a man despite being raised as a girl. The lack of male pronouns showcases this as another instance of Arc System Works and Daisuke by extension are once again pandering to a harmful audience, as they have made multiple questionable decisions ever since Strive's release, censoring characters, removing the Taiwan flag, and having changed two canonically male characters to alphabet whatever. This is why, despite my love for the franchise, I've stopped supporting it, and you should do the same. Now we can address the larger issue with Bridget. The number of responses I got to my disagreement with Arc System Works and or Daisuke's decision showcases that the people that cheer and or accept this lack standards and principles, which leads them to gladly receive and enjoy anything, even bullshit, as they will cry, "Canon! Daisuke said so," etc. My particular issue with the decision is because it's inconsistent with established law, yet worse, it's contradictory. Bridget's introduction into the series gave us a boy raised as a girl due to the superstitious beliefs of his village regarding same-sex twins, as Bridget was one of two twin sons and the village believed that such twins were a sign of misfortune, requiring one either being put to death or exiled. Given the circumstances I mentioned earlier, we know what his parents decided to do. Eventually, Bridget decides to prove his hometown wrong of their superstitious beliefs by traveling the world as a bounty hunter and growing as a man to prove his masculinity. He manages to achieve both goals, though with the former he was not too successful and decided to become an entertainer instead. Bridget achieved his motivation or reason for appearing in Guilty Gear X2, then decided to become an entertainer, but we do not know if he achieved success with this venture. His DLC introduction to Strive suggests he was unsuccessful since he decided to go back to being a bounty hunter, and his arcade run has Gold, Lewis and Kai helping him to accept that he is a girl. They groomed him, unfortunately. Those two great men, they ruined a young boy. You either live long enough to see your heroes die or become villains. This exists in both the English and Japanese versions of Strive. The blog sites differ, however, as the Japanese site refers to Bridget as a boy in his character bio or character description. I don't actually know what phrasing I should be using. How is this inconsistent with established law? Bridget left his village to become a man because over the years he resented having to pretend to be a girl. We can see this from his character interactions with other characters in X2, and also we can, using visual narrative analysis, tell this from his X2 design. As the symbol on his nun hat has the pentagram or glyph for male. This is not noticeable if you're not scrutinizing the design. Couple this with the lock, nun attire he wears, and the size of the symbol, it suggests that his manhood is strapped by his knee to present as a girl. The visual narrative of Bridget works in concert with his backstory and motivation, which is a feat of storytelling unseen at Arc System Works when it comes to Guilty Gear. This contradicts Bridget's motivation and design in Strive because he is searching for a purpose after disproving his village's superstition. This follows after he decided to leave bounty hunting to become an entertainer, and still presents as a girl, yet with the pentagram or glyph for androgynous on his hoodie cap. Then add his arcade run story and you have a complete regression of Bridget as a character, for absolutely no reason aside from the obvious: pandering. Now, before the enlightened ones accuse me of transphobismus and halt our voyage to Alpha Centauri, there is no evidence in the franchise's entries or other character stories to support the sudden decision that Bridget is non-binary, transgender, alphabet, whatever. as some characters in X2 immediately recognize him as being a teenage boy, and he neither denies nor shies away from being addressed as a man. Instead, he proudly proclaims he is a man. Also, if Arc System Works and Daisuke followed the practice of SNK, releasing King of Fighters manga and short story explanations for team setups to give additional story information, to add to the franchise's lore and provide fans with a satisfying understanding of how things are progressing, then perhaps people wouldn't have an issue with the decision. But this isn't the case. No, Arc System Works and Daisuke decided to either give into because of that sweet ESG funding, pandering, or pressure from the enlightened ones. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and if you didn't, then leave a dislike. Also, remember to leave a comment if you have anything worth saying.